to another week. I have heard from you that you loved last week's episode on how to spot the narcissists in your life. They're out there, and you know me, I love arming you with information and knowledge to help you feel a little less crazy. That's what a lot of it's about. And this week's episode is no different. So now that you've spotted them, let me help you disarm them. Let's go, warriors.
Hi, this is the Love Your Life Show with Susie Pettit, Certified Life and Wellness Coach. Join Susie as she helps you with your wellness and mindset so you can live a life you love. Let's go, warriors.
Hello, warriors, and welcome back to another episode with me, Susie Pettit, your Certified Life and Wellness Coach. I'm so thrilled that you check into this show, whether you are a first-time listener or you are a lifer and you've listened to every episode. I just love it. I think starting next week, I will start highlighting some of the reviews I've been getting again. I did that in the beginning, and I am just so grateful for your reviews. So if you've not left a review yet, leave one over there on Apple Podcasts. And if you have, I'll start reading the ones on air. So you could be the warrior of the week, which would be so exciting. Okay. You help me, I help you. And it all just is this wonderful place to be. So let's dig in, because last week's episode 222, 222 episodes of the Love Your Life Show. Well, 222 was a top downloaded one. And I understand why. I introduced 5 traits of narcissism. Okay. The reminder is there are many traits of narcissists and people with emotional immaturity. And yet these 5 traits I wanted to bring to attention because these seem to be traits of covert narcissists, which are the types of people that make us feel crazy. They hide pretty well in common society, and then they make us feel like we're the crazy ones. We're doing something wrong. Okay, my episodes are less about arming you to be able to diagnose all of your friends and families. Okay, we are not mental health professionals, most of us, but I like to arm you with knowledge so that you can help spot dysfunctional or narcissistic tendencies. Okay, the more we do that, the more we know not to accept shitty behavior as normal or as our fault. And being around covert narcissists and emotionally immature adults can make you feel crazy. Like you're the one that's done something wrong. Like you're the one that needs to change. That is incredibly taxing to our mental emotional health. I was in these sort of relationships in this cycle for many, many decades of my life, not just years, decades. Okay? And so I am here to arm you with tools to help any other warriors out there get out of this cycle, which is so bad for our mental and emotional health and a massive confidence buster. Right? So if you missed last week's episode on how to spot narcissists, add it to your playlist. For this week, I'm so excited about this week because I am giving you some of my favorite tools to disarm the narcissist. These tools change lives. Okay. You can use them with anyone. They don't need to be used with someone who has a clinical diagnosis of a cluster B personality type or narcissist personality disorder. It's actually really hard to get the narcissist in the office to get the diagnosis. So use them. And when you are using them with people who are acting emotionally immature or narcissistic, they will react back. Okay. And that's what I'm here for, to give you these tools, because these sort of nullify the reaction and they help you get your power back and help you be in relationships that energize you. Right. So let's go. These are awesome. Right? We want to use them with anyone. Again, use them with any type of person. Doesn't matter if they have a diagnosis or not. People are human and sometimes show up in unskillful way. Okay. Narcissists are not the only people who yell or who are manipulative. Use these tools with anyone to build closer and healthier relationships. I want you to be in relationships that empower you and fill you up, that add to your greatness, not detract from it. Okay. Before I begin, I need to put a big asterisk in this episode and say, if you are in a physically abusive relationship where you fear for your or your kid's safety, please get professional help. These tools are not for you. These tools are hugely effective because they disarm the narcissist. Yet, if you're in a vulnerable situation, things can get dangerous quickly, and I want you to be protected. So email me, or if you're in a place of wondering whether this is really you, okay, which if you've been hit, it is. Okay, but if you're wondering if it is, and you're not ready to go get help yet, your homework then is to learn. Go to the show notes for today's episode at smbwell.com/223 and read up on the links there I have about cluster B personality disorders. Get one of my books on my recommended book list that will also be in the show notes. Knowledge is power. Start to notice that this isn't your fault. You are not the problem. Learn so you can take safe action. And seriously, email me. I'm not scary. Second, these tools are simple, yet not easy. Okay? If you've been in this sort of relationship before, you are used to the sort of cycle of narcissistic abuse or emotionally immature abuse and sort of brainwashing that goes on. So get a coach or get in a group like my monthly membership to make sure that you're surrounded by people who support you and don't add to the confusion these types of relationships create. Okay? When you use these tools with narcissists, there will be pushback. They will try to get back in the control seat. They will be very unsettled with your change of behavior. And as I spoke about last week, that if you're in sort of a romantic relationship or a relationship like this at work or a sibling relationship, chances are that's because some of your foundational relationships were of the same sort, which means that if you're going to those people for support, they're actually not going to be able to support you because they're going to see nothing wrong with the narcissist's behavior. So having a coach or a group to reinforce that you're not doing anything wrong is critical. Okay? These people will try to discount you. They will try to unnerve you, to create confusion in your head so your relationships can get back to the old pattern. Your negative or positive reaction to their behavior is what feeds them. They use your energy to feed themselves. And what you're trying to do with these tools is take away the feed. They're often called energy vampires. They feed and feed and feed off your negative and positive energy. So let's learn to take that energy back. Make sure you're surrounded by a supportive group of people, preferably someone professional. And let's learn how to disarm the energy vampires in our lives. Okay, here are the tools. Number one, gray rock, I call it. Okay. Think of a gray rock. Dull, boring. You walk right by it, right? Okay. In interactions with this type of person, you want to become a gray rock. If they criticize you, shrug your shoulders. If they tell you your decision is dumb, ignore them. Normal social rules do not apply. You do not need to be kind. They feed on your kindness. Likewise, you do not need to be rude. They feed on your rudeness too. Okay, they see that they got you to react. You want to be a gray rock, non-reactive, boring, dull. It's like no feed here. The second tool, which goes right along with the gray rock, is what I call deep. Don't go deep in conversation. DEEP is an acronym that stands for defend, engage, explain, personalize. Okay, I have a handy picture of this in the show notes. Screenshot it and keep it on your phone. And this is one of the hardest things for people and myself to do, to not go deep in conversations, but it is so effective. Okay, possibly the most effective thing we can do. So do not defend yourself or your actions. Don't engage. Do not explain. What would be the point? They will not see your point of view. They will not understand. Worse, defending yourself steals your energy. It's a sign for them that you're not a gray rock, that they still have a hold on you, that you care in some way about what they think. It gives them back their power. And please, please, please don't take their actions personally. Their actions are about them. them pushing back against you, them getting verbally aggressive with you. Okay, these types of people are deeply wounded, who are rarely capable of change or inner reflection. It is not up to you to explain your point of view or defend yourself or engage with them. When you do that, okay, you have an explanation that they think similarly to you. Like when we go into a conversation and we go to defend ourselves or explain or engage, we sort of think like, oh, this person's going to think like me. Okay, they'll get it if I just explain it in this way. Okay, re-listen to last week's podcast to how damaging that is to our own brains. And then remember that you cannot reason with crazy. You can't. Okay, one of the hardest but best things I did was to let my parents and my ex free to think what they want of me. Okay, to not engage, to not defend myself, to not explain myself. All right, I let them think what they want to think about me, and then I know that it's not accurate for me. The sad truth, this type of person can only see things from their point of view. When we defend, engage, or explain, we are thinking that they're rational. Okay, that they'll suddenly be able to see it our way. Like with my parents or my ex, I was thinking like that they would suddenly say, oh, I get it, Susie. I see what you're saying. You're right. No. Okay. I spent over 30 years trying to convince these people that there wasn't something wrong with me, that I wasn't awful, that I wasn't mean-spirited. Okay, to this day, they have never changed their mind. To this day. And I needed to let go of what they thought of me so as to stop handing my energy over to them. Save your energy and lay your defenses down. Stop explaining. Stop trying to get them to see it your way. Set yourself free, dear warrior. Okay, the third awesome tool is what I call BIFF. B-I-F-F. Okay, sometimes, like in the case of my ex where we had children together, you do need to interact with this type of person. Okay, or maybe you have a coworker or a boss. Okay, in this case, BIFF is your tool. BIFF stands for brief, informative, formal, and firm. It is the opposite of defending, excuse making, wordiness, or explaining. The more concise and informative, the better. Okay, here are some examples of emails or texts written in this way. Frank, I am making summer plans. Please tell me Sunday at noon if you have a preference as to which month I take the kids out of town. Sarah, here is a brief you requested. If you want any edits done, please let me know by noon on Thursday. Dad, I will not be coming to your house for your birthday celebration this weekend. Mom, my family and I will not be hosting Thanksgiving this year. Notice with all of those, whether you're writing a parent, an ex, or a coworker, you save energy by being brief, informative, formal, and firm. Give the details, not the excuses. The more excuses you give, the more feed it is for that energy vampire. Okay, like my family and I are not hosting Thanksgiving this year. And then you get in, like the more you defend, I call it verbal diarrhea. Okay, it's just like giving them ammunition to pick apart. I gave some examples in last week's podcast. But this is brief, informative, formal, and firm. Right? Final, super helpful tool today is what I call broken record. And yes, that shows my age because, well, you know what? Record players are coming back into vogue. So let's go. You know what a record is, okay? A broken record, when it gets stuck, it replays the same, part over and over. Okay, so along these lines of BIFF, when you need to be, when you're in a situation where you're speaking to this person face to face or on text, or I actually never recommend speaking in person with some of the people who are most toxic to you. It's better to keep it to text and email, and that's because of our nervous system and just sort of the energy around us. But if you have to, and I have before, spoken in common, broken record is a great thing. You choose your broken record phrase ahead of time. It's helpful for me. So broken record can be done if you include these pieces. First, ask yourself, what is the point of having a conversation with this person? What is your intent? That's huge. Okay, that is huge in itself, that you get to choose the intent. So say my dad or say my ex calls me or comes over, and it's been that sort of acrimonious relationship. It's like, wait a minute, I'm not available for this conversation right now. Okay, so or they call you, you're like, you don't pick up the phone. That's pretty simple, warrior. You do not have to pick up the phone every time it rings. Okay, but so the first part, when you are intentionally moving, you're engaging, you're going towards this person to have a conversation with them. What is the point of the conversation? What is your intent? And then the second is get it down to one phrase or message and rehearse it to deliver that. You keep it simple. So take the example of taking your mom or you're telling your mom or your mother-in-law that you won't be hosting Thanksgiving dinner this year. Okay, so get clear on your intent before you pick up the phone or before you send the text. Your intent is to tell your mom you won't be hosting Thanksgiving this year. It is not to get her to agree that it's a good decision that you're not hosting Thanksgiving or to explain your reasons why you won't be hosting. Okay, remember, you can't reason with crazy. All right, you don't need her to agree with your reasons and you don't need to explain your reasons. Your intent is to convey the information, to tell her simply. So part 2 is you pre-rehearse your concise, brief message. Okay, and I suggest doing this in front of the mirror. So when we have been in these relationships for a while, our nervous system reacts when we're doing something differently. That's where this crazy making comes in. We feel like we're doing something different. Okay, and so since our brain does not know the difference between the present and the future and the past, okay, we can rehearse something in the present that we're going to do in the future. And then when we go to do it in the future, our brain feels more comfortable with it. So practice in front of a mirror. Mom, we've decided not to host Thanksgiving this year. And that is your broken record phrase. Think of the broken record. You want to say this back to her when you're talking to her. Expect her to resist. Expect she will talk back. Okay. We get into trouble when we think these people will act differently than they always have. Okay. Or that they'll act how we would act. She'll be like, oh, great decision for you and your kids. No, expect her to push back. And when she does, repeat your broken record phrase. Don't add to it. Don't explain. Don't engage. Okay, go back to the deep, D-E-E-P. Okay, broken record. Think of what she may say and how she may react in keeping in mind the person you're dealing with. Many of my listeners are like me and we think the best of the other people. This is not the time for that. Okay, give up the dream that your mom is going to be like, oh, okay, Susie, that sounds like you've made a decision on what's best for you and your family. Okay, lower those expectations. Expect her to act as she usually does. Okay, as Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Or if you're like me, believe them it's like believe them the 15th time. Okay, Maya, now I'll do it. And so what can you expect? Expect her maybe to play the victim and say something like, oh my goodness, what about me? How will I get by all alone? How will I manage? And you can just say, I get it, Mom, and we will not be hosting this year. Or maybe she'll get angry. Wow, there you go again. Only thinking of yourself and your family. I knew it. It's just like your father says. You're an ungrateful, selfish thing. Whatever. Like what should everything I've done for you, and now you're going to cut me out like this. Wait until your sister hears or your Aunt Betty. Yes, warriors, that's hard. You lean on your coach, you lean on your group, and you repeat your broken record phrase. Okay, Mom, and we will not be hosting Thanksgiving this year. Your job is to expect her to be her and to be a broken record. Repeat your message over and over. Gray rock, no defenses. This is where I'm talking about. It's simple and hard. All these tools, okay, all these tools, the gray rock, the not going deep in your conversation, the BIF, these are brief and quick overviews of these highly effective tools. Listening to this podcast and podcasts like this is a start for sure. Start to educate yourself that this sort of interaction is acceptable and normal. Okay. And then warriors, we want to do more than just listen. That leads up to a life of regret where we're 80 and we're like, why didn't I ever speak up for myself in relationship? So scheduling a coaching session is a magical action step forward. We need encouragement and support to break patterns in these long-standing relationships. Okay, take it the step past consuming information into action, acting on the information. Get into a coaching community or get a coach today to start taking action and getting your energy back. You matter deeply to me. And if you were in this type of relationship or you recognize some of these patterns in past relationships of your life, use this as a sign to reach out to someone. Okay? If we don't heal and learn from our past wounds, we pass this trauma down. If you have children, you will pass this down to your children if you're not intentional. If you are in relationships and don't have children, you will pass this down to others in relationship cycles. Okay. If you're not in this sort of relationship, poor frigging A. Okay. But if you know someone who is, I need you to hear this message. I need you to be the best kind of friend there is to them and not to should on them. Okay. Don't tell them that they should reach out to their mom because she's their mom. Please don't tell them that they should be more patient or they should stay in contact with someone just because they're related by blood or their family or any other reason. Please, warriors. Okay, these relationships are deeply wounding to our emotional health. And as I unfortunately discovered, can be to our physical health as well. You matter to me, warrior. Your friends matter to me. This is not an easy topic to discuss, but I stand before you as someone who has found peace. I am not some special unicorn. I was once as scared and as nauseous as you were when practicing Biff or practicing my broken record phrase in front of the mirror or practicing not going deep in conversation. If it's possible for me, it is possible for you too. And if you don't have a coach, I would love to be yours. I would love to guide you on this journey or hook you up with someone who can. You deserve to feel loved and cherished, not scared and shitty. And if you are a parent and you notice any of these patterns in your own relationship cycle, please take my parenting teens class today. Okay, it is 3 online modules, less than 30 minutes each. Okay, that you could take whenever you want. So when we're encouraging our kids to go to class and not complain, hey, mama, are you doing your job? Take this so that we are not passing down dysfunctional behavior. Okay, please. You matter to me. Your kids matter to me. Everything. Let's go at it. Okay. Big love to you, dear warriors.
Thank you for listening to the Love Your Life show. If you want to hear more from Susie and support the show, be sure to subscribe to this podcast on iTunes. Also, leave a review and share this podcast with friends and family. Go get 'em, warriors.